Chapter 25. Winter Whispers on the Water. The world lay hushed under a soft veil of frost. Serendipity, Lone Wanderer, and the Wayfarer had all moved out onto the main canal. It was still, its surface glazed with a delicate layer of ice that cracked under the weight of a passing moorhen. The February air carried the sharp scent of frozen water and damp earth, mingled with the faint trace of wood smoke curling from the chimneys of moored boats. Emma stood at the bow of Serendipity, her breath misting as she wrapped her hands around a steaming mug of tea. Everything was motionless except for the occasional drift of mist rolling over the water. She had come to love these quiet winter mornings, but today there was something else in the air, something stirring beneath the silence. Jack was already up, crouched beside his mooring ropes on Lone Wanderer, testing their hold against the frozen towpath. "Another cold one," he remarked, his voice as gruff as ever, but softened by the hush of the morning. Emma nodded, watching as a robin flitted onto her roof, pecking at the frost. "Colder than yesterday, I think." A slow creak signaled John's arrival. He leaned out from the Wayfarer, his knitted hat pulled low over his ears. "This is nothing," he chuckled. "Back in the day, we had entire sections of the canal frozen solid. Had to break the ice with a boat just to move." Emma raised an eyebrow. "How do you break ice with a boat?" John grinned, eyes gleaming with old memories. "We'd use an icebreaker. It was a heavy, thick-hulled narrowboat with no cargo. In early days, it was pulled by horses, and in later days was motorized. A crew of us would rock it side to side, using the weight of the boat to smash through the ice. It wasn't easy work, mind. Took a team of strong blokes, and even then, some days the ice fought back." Emma could picture it. The dark steel hull of the boat rocking violently, men gripping the gunwales, their breath forming thick clouds as they heaved the vessel from side to side, forcing it through the frozen crust of the water. The thought fascinated her. Jack, listening in, gave a knowing nod. "Reckon you'd have made a good icebreaker, John." John let out a deep chuckle. "Might have back in my prime. These days, I'm better suited to breaking into a biscuit tin." Emma laughed, but her gaze drifted to the water. The ice was thin, but enough to keep the boats locked in place. No wonder she was feeling restless. Even the canal itself had stopped moving. A distant hum broke the silence, the low guttural throb of an engine. Emma turned to see a narrowboat approaching from the bend, moving cautiously through the ice. The bow nudged forward, cracking through the frozen layer in slow, deliberate movements. The boatman, wrapped in layers, stood firm at the tiller. Jack watched intently. Must be heading south. Maybe trying to reach the next lock. Emma felt a pang of longing as she watched the movement of the boat, the way the ice splintered and reformed in its wake. She loved the stillness of winter, but there was something about the act of moving that called to her. Jack must have noticed. "Bit of cabin fever?" She sighed, nodding. "Maybe. I love it here, but some days I miss the feeling of moving." John rested his hands on the edge of the Wayfarer. It's a balance, Emma. Canal life teaches you patience. When the water's open, you move. When it's frozen, you wait. The canal's got its own rhythm. You've just got to listen." Emma exhaled, watching the ice shift in the wake of the passing boat. "I suppose you're right." John smirked. "Of course I am. Besides, winter's a time for stories, tea, and waiting it out. Before you know it, you'll be on the move again." Emma glanced at Serendipity, feeling a little more settled. The boat had become her home, her sanctuary. Movement would come in time. She lifted her mug, letting the warmth sink in. "All right," she said, a small smile playing on her lips. "Who's up for another round of tea?" Jack smirked. "As long as you're making it." John grinned. "And maybe a biscuit or two?" Emma laughed, retreating inside, leaving behind the frozen morning but carrying with her its quiet magic.
Thank you for watching Winter Whispers on the Water. If you enjoyed this chapter of Emma's Canal Chronicles, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more peaceful journeys along the waterways. There's always another story waiting just around the bend. And if you love a good thriller, dive into the Evelyn March AI espionage series, where secrets unravel, danger lurks, and intrigue awaits. 5 thrilling audiobooks are already available, with a sixth, the Pandora Directive, on the horizon. Discover them now at www.emmaserendipity.co.uk and enjoy storytelling wherever you go. See you next time for more reflections from the towpath.